Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Never Mind the Buy Box. My name is Natalie Cromie, and I am the content director here at the Secret Wealth Project. This evening, I am joined by the lovely Anna Logan Riversby. Have I said that the wrong way around? Or have I got it right?
All fine.
I will say it every single time. I really struggle with double-barreled names.
Yeah.
So we would just wait for a few people to come on and join us this evening, because obviously, I know that we are not in our usual Tuesday time slot, so obviously that's probably freaked a few people out, and obviously just been a little bit of a crazy week at the moment. But whilst we're waiting for a few people to come on and say hi, can you let us know in the comments if you can see and hear us okay? That would be great. Whilst we're doing that, Anna, how are you? How's your week been? How's it all going? And is that a Christmas tree behind you?
There is a Christmas tree. That's the famous Christmas tree that my partner made out of pallets.
So is it like a sustainable Christmas tree?
It is a sustainable Christmas tree, very ecologically friendly. The pallets that we used to have around the house. And he thought, what can one do with all that wood? We don't want it to burn it unless you're somewhere where, people burn wood, out of fun, like a Burning Man and all of that with,
a wicker man
pallets,
Yeah.
And exactly, and what can you do something a bit more sustainable, maybe a bit of furniture, Christmas tree. And he made a beautiful Christmas tree and I love it. And we've been using it throughout the year.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I absolutely love it. I'm going to log into I was distracted by the Christmas tree. So I'm going to log in and just check out the comments. So hello there. We can see and hear you fine. Thank you very much. Just let us know. Do you like the Christmas tree? I love it. It's got a kind of Scandi type feel to it. And
actually,
I really like sort of Scandinavian sort of design. I don't have a lot of it in my house, but I really love it. So yeah, I like that. Ramel says hi. But yeah, I was like, is that a Christmas tree? I didn't have a chance to say it beforehand, but yeah, I love it.
It is. I think it has even Christmas tree, it's all the way up.
Oh, all the way up. There we go. You put a star on top?
Yeah, we're going to put a star at Christmas. So it's got a little sort of falling star.
Yeah, lovely.
To put that, and throughout the year it sort of doesn't have the star. So that's the only thing that distinguishes it between Christmas and, throughout the year. It's the star. And the prezzies underneath. We put prezzies underneath.
And you put the presents underneath it as well. I've seen a lot of people on Pinterest and sort of Instagram and things like that do go for the sort of alternative Christmas trees. So I do love that. Didn't know it was Christmas time.
Didn't know me neither.
Christmas should be in your heart all year round. The spirit of Christmas should always be in your heart all year round. Absolutely. Binay says, evening. Sean says, anyone paid attention to the budget speech? Do you know what? I'm going to be honest. No, not really. I saw it was, I saw a few things relating to it, that it was kind of to do with, tax rises and things like that. But the reason in particular that I didn't pay attention too much this year is, and this is going to shock Sean when I say this, is I do believe there are going to be some more restrictions over the Christmas period. I think that's quite obvious now from the language in the media, excuse me, and the way that they're talking about things. So I don't see any point in, Cindy says Merry Christmas. I didn't see any. I'll tell you what, guys, I'm only about 2 weeks away from putting my tree up, so it's happening. It's there, and I'm gonna put a tree in the corner here, so it's gonna be festive. It's gonna be a festive fest for sure. Peter says hi. That if we did have some restrictions over the Christmas period, the festive period, whatever, winter, how can they predict what's going to happen in 6 months' time? Because that's going to impact on all that anyway. So I feel that growth, expectations, people have been talking about mortgage rates going up to 5%. How can they possibly predict that if they don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months? So for me, I didn't pay attention normally as much as I would to a budget this year. And that's the reason why, because I really don't know anyone knows what's happening yet, to be perfectly honest. That's the way I see it. I don't know how you feel about it, Anna.
I don't know. I've been looking at the situation globally. We are like commentators now, commenting all of these things.
Yeah,
But you know what?
absolutely.
It's relevant for the business. It really is.
100%.
I know the stocks are going crazy through the roof. The optimism there is fantastic. And I mean, you are thinking, why, my goodness, we've been locked up for 2 years and everybody's optimistic about the future there in equities market. But in regards to what's going to be happening this year with everything else that we're actually, seeing that's happening, I think they are definitely considering Plan B. I would, I do not know the state of our healthcare. I am following the news, but I when I go there, it's sort of empty-ish. Every time I've been there last year, and I popped in a couple of times for some checkups and stuff. And I don't know how they're organizing it, but if they feel they have to, they have to. But other countries like South Africa, or I think it was Sweden, they never had lockdowns. They're recovering fast. So there are different approaches, but there are different demographics in each country. So I believe each to their own, really. If you don't like it, frankly, there's a big world. You can move somewhere else when they don't have lockdowns, I'm sure they welcome you with open hands.
Absolutely. And you know what is interesting is, you've got half the world, you've got some countries going back into full-on lockdowns, like you've said. Some never even entered a lockdown, and people responding to it differently. And, that just goes to prove that we're all different. We all respond to things differently. And, you can't really, I think if anything, the last 18 months has taught us is you can have a plan in place, but like everything, that plan should have a level of fluid or liquidity, or fluidity, if that's a word, to it. You have to always be able to adapt. You have to always be able to change. And I wanted to touch a little bit on this tonight before we start talking about VAs, because that's the reason why Anna's here, to update us on everything she's doing on the VA side of things, to give some information about those of you that are maybe thinking of hiring VAs over this Q4 period, because, this is time people like to test different stuff, see what works for them, see what doesn't work for them. But I did want to talk a little bit about mindset this week as well, because I know it's a really important, part of what you do, Anna, and it's very close to your heart. And, like I said previously when Anna was on, Anna's always a ray of light to talk to, in Dora. You're what I call you're a creative solutions problem. Anna, so lovely. I think most people are probably aware now. We had a horrible time this week with my daughter being ill, and Anna knew that I think sometime last week. And you were lovely. You sent me this really lovely email with some information about how to kind of boost her immune system and things like that. Whereas you're not someone that just sort of says something or whatever. I mean, everyone was fantastic. I've had the most amazing messages and well wishes for Indiana to get better, which has been amazing. But obviously it was so lovely that you'd sent through something actionable, because when you have a sick child, and I'm not talking about she's not long-term sick or anything like that, but we've been dealing with something with her for, 3 weeks or so, which was very stressful because she was getting very ill very quickly on a reoccurring basis. And we were sort of talking about it, and it was literally, it was lovely that, you sent that through and I read through it and I was like, yes, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Whereas it's always a case of sometimes what I'm trying to say in a very roundabout way, me, guys, is and wallow about something. And we can sit and not take any action on something. But the fact that you sent me through something and I can look into that and put something into place just shows me how strong your mindset is. Because for me, and again, we were talking about this beforehand, I'd already spoken to Matt last week and I said, look, it's half term next week. This is the post that I wrote this week in the group. I said, it's half term next week. I'm going to, this is before all the stuff happened, the serious stuff happened with my daughter. And I sort of said, do you know what? I'm not going to be around much next week. I'm going to be around, but I'm not going to be like crazy around, because I want to spend some time with the kids. I want to take a little bit of time off of social media because it does become draining. I don't think we realize how draining social media is a lot of the time. And to have that sort of break, and I was checking the stats on my phone, and I'm on like Messenger and Facebook, like, 5-6 hours a day. I'm not saying it's that long a period, but when you're logged into something or whatever. I was like, oh, mentally, I need a little bit of a break from it all. And we were talking about this earlier, weren't we, Anna? That some people have the ability to sort of power through and sort of say, oh, I can deal with it or whatever, regardless. I'm personally one of those people. I like to step away, recharge, and then come back in afresh. Let me know in the comments, is what type of person are you? How do you deal with that sort of stuff? What I really wanted to say was, it's not really a case of, like I said, some people think, oh, taking a break, you can't hack it, you can't do this, but it's not to do with that whatsoever. It's being mindful of your mindfulness. I think it's being, knowing that you can fall into a really kind of dark kind of rabbit hole in terms of getting sucked into the kind of social media machine, and I have to take a step away from it every now and again. I don't see that as a failure. I see that as my strength, that I can recognize that, remove myself from the situation, and come back refreshed. So I don't know, does that make sense? That's what I wanted to say.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I think when I had adrenal burnout 6-7 years ago, my GP told me that adrenal burnout is not really recognized in the healthcare community as such, and it's especially something that people are embarrassed to admit in corporate environment. Can you imagine being embarrassed with your adrenal glands being drained, and they're drained because of the stress, prolonged long-term stress? And people don't realize, because that sort of that effect of how is that thing called when you plop the frog into the boiling water or warm water and it sort of starts boiling slowly? It's like frog effect. How is that thing called? I can't remember. But when you're in the situation, it's gradually getting worse. You sort of don't realize it, right?
Yeah.
And before you know it, you don't know what your name is. You haven't slept in ages, and you're exhausted, and you're still powering through because you don't really realize that lots of things have changed. So I think that's what you're talking about. But you're somebody who recognizes the symptoms now.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
And now you can say, okay, these are the symptoms, I need to stop.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, there was a period of time, and I don't know if anyone else can identify with this. There definitely was a period of time, and this has only been relatively recent, that I've been able to speak out kind of publicly about it and admit that, this does happen to me every now and again. Because like you say, it's like people think this kind of burnout, whatever it is, social media, it's like a bit of a drain, with everything in life. And it's not just social media. I'm not banging social media, but we all live busy lives. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're parents, if you're not parents, you might be working full time. You might be doing this, you might be doing that. So it's really, really important to be able to recognize it, not be embarrassed by it, and just sort of say, do you know what? I need to take this time. To be perfectly honest, I will say that obviously, I now looking back over the last few weeks, we were very stressed out with our daughter anyway as well. She wasn't sleeping. And obviously that was having a big impact on us as well. And just knowing that, your child's not very well, obviously that has a big impact as well. So I think that contributed to it a little bit. And now hopefully she's better and she's back. Sorry, I'm coming down with something now.
Oops.
I know. Now, she's back to almost 100% now. So, that's what I just wanted to say, just something just to recognize, to look out for. Don't be embarrassed about it. Take the time that you need. Or, change your focus. Some people don't want to step away, but they might want to change their focus to something else for a shorter period of time. There's all different ways to look at it for sure. But I just wanted to highlight that and go through it. So Marlo says, Christmas tree already. Yeah. Do you know what? My house at the moment is a mix of, we've got most of our Halloween decorations up now, but there is a couple of Christmas decorations that have already snuck in there. So I'm going to gradually, once we get past this weekend, I'm going to gradually sort of every week going to introduce a few sort of like Christmas stuff, definitely. So that mix of Christmas and Halloween, we're in that weird sort of nightmare before Christmas period.
Yeah.
at the moment. But yeah, Christmas tree out, 100%. Paul says, "Good evening, ladies. Good evening to you too." So let's
Good evening.
let's jump on the reason why we're here, which is to talk about VAs. Now, for anyone that didn't watch Anna's Never Mind the Buy Box a couple of months ago, please make sure you take a look at that. It was absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorite Never Mind the Buy Boxes we've ever done, where we talked about Anna's journey, how she'd got into Amazon, where she started, where she's ended up now, why we were talking about the VAs, and also introducing a service that you're running. And never mind, the buy box is never for selling anything. You guys know that, obviously, but we will always talk about, services or whatever that we think could be helpful for people that we know are looking for these types of services. And the reason we wanted Anna to come on is because we knew that she was doing something unique and something a little bit different to what was out there at the moment. Not saying what is out there, if there's anything wrong with that whatsoever, just Anna has a different approach to it. And it's, essentially, go back and watch the episode if you haven't watched it. Absolutely phenomenal. Anna talks about why she ended up in the place where she did. We talked loads of value about how you could recruit a VA if you were looking for one. So we just wanted to do a follow-up session tonight for those of you that were interested to find out a little bit more about Anna and the service that she's offering. So Anna, if you just fill us in. So when we talk about sort of what you're doing at the moment, you are running, I would say, fair to say, a smaller VA service where you are looking, to hook people up, essentially, for want of a better word, with VA,
like Stella Black.
with VAs with a difference, because your VAs are trained phenomenally well, but they don't come from geographically the normal place where most people get sourcing VAs, which is sort of the Philippines or places like that. So most of your guys, I'll let you fill everyone in and talk us through it, because it's been running a couple of months now, and just wanted a bit of a catch up to see how it's going, really.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much. And hello, everybody, again. Just to remove all the doubts, this behind me is a Christmas tree over there, made out of pallets that my partner made. And we've been using it as a light throughout the whole year. So it just sort of, we add a little bit of a thing to the top as like a star, which is not there yet because there's no Christmas. But the star is coming at the top over there. So then it becomes a regular, full-on, 100% Christmas tree. Woohoo!
So that's the difference. You use it all year round.
Exactly. So it's just the star and the presents underneath, and that's when you have it, full-on Christmas tree. Yeah. Okay. So yes, we started. Thank you, Natalie, for this beautiful introduction again and always. We started with our agency a couple of months ago, and as I always say, that experience is road to the truth. So now we have more experience with our clients, with the VAs, and I can confirm some things about what I thought this is going to be, and improve on the others that I didn't give enough attention to. So I like clarity. As everybody who knows me, I'm very transparent with everything, because I have absolute confidence that I will solve any problem that you put in front of me. That's why I'm transparent. And I give it my best that I do solve it. And so far, I'd had probably 100% of success with that. So what has been happening, we have successfully found some brilliant people in Europe, and I thought that Europe would be a great place to find the VAs because they're only 1 hour, time-wise from us, and you can always text them, call them, communicate with them, which was not the case with the others, which are sort of working in the opposite shift, as you like. They have excellent internet. I know their circumstances. I know how they live. I know their culture. So when I interview these people, I make sure that there are no red flags. I make sure that they would match what we can offer to them. And then we have several layers of our interviewing process. And when they pass that, then I can say, okay, I like this person. It matches what I thought, it would help them become really great as a VA to our clients. And let's go and give them the opportunity. And so far, our clients absolutely love our VAs. We had some, matching difficulties in the beginning with the certain criterias of the clients. So they had criteria that our VAs were not trained in. So they had first 3 weeks of problem matching those criterias, and so that was that adjustment time. And then, interestingly enough, because they are so great as a teammates, they are very assertive, they are critical thinkers. The client said, you know what, I can give them this updated task to do. We'll give them something else to do, which is closely related, but, retrain them, train them more, and give them more responsibility, and even promote them. So we had that too. So, so we had different kinds of experience. And as I said, experience is road to the truth. So I'm seeing so much more potential with these VAs in the future. I'm extremely optimistic about it.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. And I love exactly what you've said, Anna. And I do consider myself to be cut from the same sort of cloth, in the sense that nothing's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Whenever you start services like this, whenever you start, being an Amazon expert, essentially, and, or whatever field that you're in, and when you eventually start charging for services, whatever within your field, nothing's going to be perfect 100% of the time. And one of the very famous phrases is, get 80% done as quickly as possible, because the last 20% is going to be the perfection. And that's going to only come from the feedback that you receive for the things that you haven't thought about. And this is really, really interesting. And I think the best services out there, the best, again, with Matt and Karen and the services that they offer as well, their services are very feedback based. So, you give feedback and understanding that not everything's perfect, and that's how you improve your service, by listening to the people that are paying for your service, improving it. If you change nothing, then you're not going to be around for very long. You're not going to have, so it's understanding that. Emma's joined us. Evening, Emma. Hope you're well.
Hi, Emma.
Hi. And nice to see you. Saw your YouTube video this week, for anyone that didn't watch Emma's YouTube video. So it was nice to see her back. So anyone that hasn't watched that yet, make sure you go and give it. It was a really cool video. It was a sort of a day in the life of an Amazon entrepreneur. So I love those type of videos. More of those, please, Emma. But the what I find really interesting is people don't realize, running these type of services. And part of the reason I wanted to get you on tonight as well is talk about some of the challenges, some of the positives, some of the things that have worked, some of the things that haven't worked, but also at the same time as well, this, I think, helps with people, because we're not trying to plug services here or anything like that. Anna's also here for people that, potentially don't want to use a service, never going to use a service. They want to go through the process himself, to be able to give people advice on how to do it and how you've done it differently, because of some of the challenges that you talked about in the previous episode. We won't go back over them in too much detail, but Anna, highlighted she had communication issues, had issues with internet going out, all these different types
hurricanes,
typhoons, everything, natural disasters, which of course you can't, do anything about. They are things that do happen in the Philippines. But as Anna says, she's a problem solver. So instead of just kind of accepting it and saying, I'm just going to deal with this and, just keep plodding on, even though I'm not, particularly happy about it, she found a solution. And that solution was to hire VAs closer to home that have a closer time limit, better internet, and what was really interesting. So for anyone who, because this was the first question I thought of, well, surely if they're not based in the Philippines, they must be super expensive. But that was a really surprising case, wasn't it? Because where costs of living and wages has risen in the Philippines, there are countries in Europe where the difference isn't that, much, and it's kind of negligible, really, isn't it?
That's what I thought that one of my strengths lies in, because I knew the culture. I lived there during my studies 20,000 million years ago. And then I went there a couple of years, 1 year before COVID started. I lived there with my mom for 1 year to help her out. She was not well. So I had the opportunity to see and reassess the culture and circumstances over there. So when I was setting this up, I thought, okay, I really need to make sure that whoever I admit for the interview process has to match a certain category. Means I need to know who they live with, what is it that they do, and what are their circumstances to be able to understand if they're going to be happy with the job and with the wage. So you can't just fly in and take anybody on, really. Each person has different circumstances. So you really need to find and nitpick through them to see who really matches the criteria for both a job and the circumstances all around.
Absolutely. And when you're going through the interview process, and again, we went through this quite deeply last time, but I don't think we actually talked too much about the interview process. I wanted to pick up on what you said earlier about red flags. And let's talk about, when you're interviewing a VA, what are the things that you look for in what they're saying in the interview question? And I appreciate that might be based a lot on the type of questions you're answering and the answers that you're looking for. But what is it, and what are the things that you look for a successful candidate to say? And what are the things that you look for that potentially could be red flags?
So when I read through the CVs, I see what kind of education they had. It's a normal kind of standard procedure. What kind of interests, job experience, any voluntary experiences, sort of standard CV reading or scanning. And I look for their location. I want to make sure that they are from location that they say they are. And then that's a basics. But then I have to see them in person and speak to them in person and find out a little bit more about them. I ask them where they're from. I share where my mom is from, that I was from that region. And I want to find out who they live with. If they live with their parents or grandparents, or if their family is sharing, I know exactly their financial needs.
Okay.
So therefore, I can offer them this job. If they live by themselves somewhere in the central of the town, I know that they're going to be struggling with this kind of wage. And I will be saying to them, honestly, if you want this job and you need more, this is not going to be for you. Or if you're expecting to double your wage within a month, this is not going to be for you.
Wow.
So it's not for everybody. So I really need to know their circumstances.
I have never heard anybody say that before. What an insight into the interview process, because I think, in particular, I've had very limited experience with VAs. It's something that I've never really dived into. It's part of the reason why I was never successful in fully outsourcing online arbitrage, because I couldn't let go of not doing the sourcing myself. I've always been really, really, open about that. I really struggled. If your service had come along at the time, it might have definitely been something that I could have gone ahead with the process, or, going through that. But what I find really, really interesting, because one of the things absolutely that people do have problems with, and I'm not particularly talking about the Philippines, because this is true of, it could be true of anywhere in the world, is that expectation of people's hiring someone, then finding out they're working for someone else because financially they can't afford to work for one person.
Yes.
And again, that presumably came from when you found out originally that you had VAs, that you'd paid for someone, to train for you. And then you found out that they were working for God knows how many different people, and, and all these different types of things. And Peter says that's a really, and it sounds like a really ethical way of hiring and setting expectations also. Absolutely, I completely agree. But this is why I want you guys to get to know Anna more, because, like I said, once you know Anna, you know absolutely that's what she's about, 100%. So,
thank you.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I've never heard anyone say that before. So, you manage their expectations, you check that expectations, and you're very realistic for them. So, say for instance, they've gone through that and said yes. You've realized that you can potentially work with them. What's the next stage beyond that?
So if they satisfy all of this criteria, I say to them, okay, did you ever hear about this kind of position before, this job opportunity before? Manual sourcing, virtual assistant. Usually, we're in a region where I'm looking for candidates, they have never heard of this. They have heard of Amazon. There are people who are working for Facebook, advertising for Amazon, maybe they're doing adverts for them. They may be doing some different tasks, yes, but I have never heard of Amazon online arbitrage or a virtual assistant that specializes in sourcing for these sellers. It's completely new to them. So obviously, I cannot test their skill set in something that I do not know. So I have decided to, organize a short course. They go through that, and then I arrange the skill set exam for them. It's a second part of the interviewing process. And if they pass that to a great criteria, they have to have 70% or more of the winners of the weekly sort of test. Then I said to them, okay, I will be matching you with a client that will be matching your personality and your kind of whatever I learned from them during the interviewing process and training process, because it's actually live process. I attend today, live training. So I get to know them, how they think more. So there's a lot of, personalized touch there too with each person. So then I think, okay, if I have a new, client, I think I get to know the client as well in detail as much as I can, their requirements and their personality. What is their previous experience with the VAs? Because some of them had horrendous experience with the previous VAs. And I then, like Cilla Black, I tried to match two people together. Somebody
blind
who's going
VA
to
date.
exactly a blind date. But I want to make sure that if a client needs and wants somebody loyal, somebody who is professional, somebody who's dedicated, that I match them, correctly to each other. If somebody wants somebody more assertive, I make sure that I match them with more assertive person. And if somebody wants somebody who's going to work quietly and just deliver deals and still express their opinions, I will match them with that kind of person too. So it really depends, because personality mismatch can ruin somebody's experience of work, really, and their business.
Absolutely. And that's from both sides as well. Obviously from the VA and the client, it works both ways. Both could, in a mismatched situation. Again, really interesting that I think that, I came from a background of recruitment, and, what's really interesting is the fact that you do take that personality side of things into account, and especially, like you say, when you've got your Cilla hat on and you're trying to match people up, because there could be, for somebody, I suppose, could be the best VA in the world. But if they're not gelling with their client, if they're not communicating, and that could come down to like a personality thing, it could come down to, if you've got two assertive people or two people that are on the introvert side, then it's not really ever going to work, or
No.
It's not going to work perfectly, I suppose.
No, because there's a very concrete reason for that. And number one is communication. You cannot understand what other person is actually relaying, no matter how well they speak or how eloquent they are. It's just there's something wrong with the personalities, and if one means one thing, the other one interprets it in different ways. I had experience with that. Intelligent person, I just did not really understand how that person sort of operated, like brain-wise, and I could not relay what I needed correctly to this person, because if I was, they would be delivering, because intelligent person does. So I thought, okay, we do not understand each other. We don't speak the same language at all. It's just, it matters. It really does.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Emma says, thanks for the shout out. Anna's VAs sound amazing. Very insightful to hear the criteria she uses to help shortlist the candidates. And this is from Paul. So, you know, if anyone does want to get, you know, we're going to give Anna a big shout out this evening because, like I said, we here at the Secret Wealth Project, never mind the buy box, we want people on, you know, that are delivering the best possible services, you know, for people who are looking to expand their businesses over Q4. Absolutely. So, you know, if anyone is in the market for a VA, you do want to try it out, but you're not somebody who likes to train yourself or go through the process yourself. And I think this is very much 50-50. I think 50% of the people want to go through the process and train themselves for various different reasons, whether it be financial. Some people have to go through that process of training because they feel it's, you know, good for the communication moving forward. And how do you know if they're not going to be, you know, getting your criteria right if you haven't changed them yourself? So again, this no right or wrong answers here, guys. It's whatever you feel comfortable doing. And I think what's really interesting is, you know, Paul said here, I can vouch for Anna. I have a VA with her. I think I was one of her first clients. The service she offers feels a lot more personal from my previous experience with another VA service and delivers much better results. The deals that have been found certainly seem to have less competition, which certainly made me question if my other VAs were sharing.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So,
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, that's something that we said. And we're not here to, you know, criticize other, you know, services or anything like that whatsoever. What it just comes down to, and this is a lot of what you have to do in the business space, is if you're going to do something that's already being done out there, then you have to have a unique element. You have to have a USP. What is going to set you apart from what is already out there? And it's not saying that what is out there is not good. I know that there are some excellent VA services that are being run, you know, by some really, you know, honourable people in the service that we're all in at the moment. And but at the same time, what Anna's done from her own experience is recognize something that wasn't quite ticking the box for her and found a solution and is doing something a little bit differently. So I think absolutely, you know, if you're going to do that, and that appears to be working, you know, from the feedback, because I know some of the people you've supplied VAs for, and the feedback has been phenomenal. Everyone says you're a dream to work with. Everyone says, and I know that to be true because I know you really well, Anna. And I know that that's, you know, 100% the case. And if anybody, like I said, didn't get that from, well, put it like this, anybody that watched your Never Mind the Buy Box, I don't think there would be anybody out there that could, you know, doubt your integrity in any way, shape or form, you know, because you are someone that absolutely has that. So you go through the process, you train them up, you talk to the client, you work with it together. Now, and then, like you say, you Cilla Black together, and you go through that. But what I also wanted to touch on tonight is, you know, there might be some people listening, some people watch the replay that might be at their stage in their business where this all sounds great, but how do I know if this is the right time in my business for a VA at the moment? Because there's costs involved, there's time involved. It's not just a case of hiring someone and saying, even though they're supplied from you fully trained, there is work to be done after that as well.
Yes.
You know, so we don't want anyone to think, obviously, it's just a case of you pick up your VA and, you know, Anna sorts it all out for you and you never have to do anything ever again. It's not. It's a very collaborative partnership that has to be worked on and maintained moving forward. So where in a business, I suppose, if somebody's thinking they're getting fed up of searching boots and doing this and doing that, when's the right time? Or is there not a right time, I suppose?
So I can maybe just relay a couple of my experiences and from experiences I heard from other people. I had people who said, I'm ready right now. I just started. and I don't want to do some tasks that I just either don't want to be learning too much about. I know some stuff, but I already know I don't like it. I want to delegate. Or you are at the stage of your business like I was, where I knew how to do absolutely everything. And I realized that I'm less good at some tasks than others. And some tasks were taking so much of my time that can be used in something else. And I just made a list of all the tasks that I was doing on a regular basis for my business. And I said, okay, this one and that one I need to delegate because it's draining my energy and taking away too much of my time. And because of these two really big, sort of time takers and energy drainers, I cannot see my business clearly. So I cannot create strategy clearly. I cannot maybe take another great course or create a nice system. So I basically delegated those. And one of them was obviously a VA for sourcing, because it took me too long. And the other one was a prep business. So prepping and sourcing for me was like a gift from heaven. And then I was able to scale up and see my business clearly and talk to my accountant about strategies. And it was much better, much better. So I think basically just see how stressed out you are every day while doing all the tasks and which ones, taking too much of your time, and decide what to delegate. And second, see how much turnover you're, churning in. Do you have savings? Do you have money to, scale up? Because once you get a VA, there are going to be deals coming in and you have to buy them, so you have to make sure you have enough cash to pay them and to start flying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, getting a VA definitely propels you forward.
It does. And I completely agree. There are two things, massive things within an Amazon arbitrage business, and done at the right time in your business, that your business can financially support, and also, time management support as well. Those two areas that are done at the right time, and Anna's already said them, prep and sourcing. Now, if you are someone that is doing both yourself at the moment, unless you have very deep pockets, you're going to need to choose one or the other to start with. And to be perfectly honest, again, slightly controversial, some people will say prep, some people will say sourcing. It really does depend on sorry, it's my mum ringing. I don't know, how did that, every time she always rings when I'm live. Sorry about that, guys.
Sounds like my mum. I'm surprised she didn't ring.
Bit of Lizzo jumping through there. Managed to get it before the swears came in. But anyway, so prep and sourcing. Now you need to go through and work out. I would suggest that prep, probably in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I think prep's the first one to outsource personally, but I know some people hate sourcing, and again, that's a very biased point of view from my point of view, because I don't have a problem with sourcing. As a manual sourcer from day one, I've never not been able to find deals, especially when I was doing online arbitrage. I've never not had an issue. Anyone that watches the way that we source in ESA or anything like that is, deals are not a problem for me. Whereas some people want to do this business, quite happy to prep, but they struggle to find deals, or they don't like the monotony, I suppose, of sourcing. So you do, when it comes down to it, probably have to decide between those two areas, prep and sourcing. And Anna's absolutely right. Whatever one you decide, they will automatically propel your business. But you do have to sit down and think about it logically. There's no point in outsourcing the prep, first of all, if you're rubbish at sourcing, because then you're not going to have any deals to send to the prep center. So you do have to think about these things, first of all. So for some people, it's going to be an easy decision. Some people are really going to have to sit down and think about it, what works for them. Because, with the greatest of respect to everyone out there, in my opinion, there's no skill to prepping. Whereas there is a skill to sourcing, I think. Personally.
Yeah.
So for me, I suppose logically, for a lot of the people, if you're more than likely going to have a problem with sourcing, then that's the one that you want to do first, and then prep away to your heart's content. one because, you know, prep does take a long time.
It does. Definitely.
It's a time sucker.
It is.
Yeah.
So I had to decide which one I liked the most, you know. So when I was doing this business, and first I outsourced prepping, and then I switched and I outsourced sourcing. And you know what? It was much easier doing the prepping, and then it was not because I started making mistakes. As soon as my VA started churning the deals, I was like, suddenly there were 10,000 pallets on my head, and I'm like, oh, oops.
And you can only make one Christmas tree.
Exactly. Exactly. I can't make 10 of those, you know. So yeah, I think everybody really needs to see where their strengths lie. And I think having the business really pushes you to understanding yourself and your skill set. It's absolutely amazing experience, you know. And if you do it right, my goodness, you're going to be happy.
Absolutely. What do you do, Anna? Do you write down the list when you're knowing what to delegate, what to outsource, you know, what to take away in part of your business? Is it for you a case of first getting rid of the stuff that you're not good at, or is it getting rid of the stuff that you don't enjoy? Because you can be good at something and not enjoy it. There's a difference between being good at something and not enjoying it, or, you know, being rubbish at something and knowing that you have to outsource it because you're no good at it.
The thing is, if I'm good at something, I'm going to feel sense of accomplishment anyway.
Yeah.
So that sort of offsets that a little bit, gives me that sense of, you know, purpose, that I'm doing something meaningful. So, but if I'm not enjoying it at all, and I'm not good at it, I think that's the first thing to go.
Yeah.
So I have my own VA who's absolutely amazing, and she really helps me with these things that I'm not good at, such as follow up on things or contacting people regularly. She's absolutely amazing, brilliant. So she really takes a big burden from my chest. So thank you, Tina, if you're there. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. Without her, I wouldn't be able to have the consistency that business needs. You know, business needs for you to be there all the time, keep in touch with people. So she helps with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a few admin VAs. We have VAs that help us with behind the scenes kind of things. But one VA I'm looking to recruit, and I'll be coming to you, Anna. I know it's not necessarily your specialism, but I hate recruiting people. So for me, I'm happy to do the training, but I don't necessarily want to do the recruiting side of things. So it'd be really interesting. I do need somebody that can help me with the day-to-day side of things. And I'm really interested in getting someone on board that can be my kind of go-to person, essentially, to help me get things a little bit more under control. And I know that that's something you're going to look at in the future, expanding your VA service. Essentially, sourcing VAs were always going to be first, but you know, from the conversations that I have with you very much early on, you want to expand into different areas because you have found this kind of golden pool, essentially, in the way that you do recruit the VAs. You know, the skills are going to be transferable into different areas.
Yes, that's true. And I have already realized that most people that I hire are capable of scaling up and retraining and being really good at it as well. Some couple of years when you were talking about somebody to help you out, I have two amazing VAs. If they're free, you know, I'll send them your way.
Oh, amazing.
Brilliant people.
Amazing. Well, Tina is watching. She just checks in, and Paul's also backs up, said the amazing Tina. Absolutely.
Really?
Paul, it did make me laugh when you said that about the tape gun. Do you know what's really funny? Is my husband Matt is amazing with the tape gun, and he's going to kill me for saying that, because there are absolutely people who, you know, like when you see some people's boxes where they've done a shipment and you see their tape and you think, oh my God, did they tape that box in the dark? Kind of thing. Certain way. There's a certain way. And Matt was always really good with the tape gun. He could do it really quickly and he could do it perfectly.
Wow.
So I take it back. Maybe there is some skill in prepping.
Oh, I think definitely. I was never that great in it. It took me like 3, 4, 5. You know, when you're learning to drive a car and you do learn how to do 3-point turn.
Yeah.
And when I was driving a Jaguar, it was always a 7-point turn. So when I was wrapping the box, it was usually 7-point turn instead of 3. So I guess your mat is 3-point turn.
I don't know. I don't know the dynamic of it. The only rule in our warehouse, in our household, was don't let Natalie touch the boxes. That was the only. It was like Fight Club, but we call it Prep
Fight
Club.
Club. I love that.
It was the first rule and the only rule of Prep Club: don't let Natalie near the boxes.
I love that.
That's the rule that we didn't do that. Peter says, "Well, I didn't realize that Matt Webley is married to me." No, he's not. No, we have. No, he's not married to me. He's not married, but he's with the lovely Holly. So it just so happens that my husband's called Matt as well. But no, we're not married. That's not the first time someone said that. We have had that before. But you know what? It's because I've stopped calling him my Matt. So I call Matt Webley Matt Webley, and then my Matt is my Matt.
Exactly. Everybody pay attention. My Matt is Natalie's Matt.
Yeah, my Matt is Natalie's Matt.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not at all, Peter. You're not the first, and you won't be the last. 100%. But yeah, that was the rule of prep. Absolutely, first rule of prep club: don't let Natalie near the boxes. 100%. So, can we just quickly sort of go over for the guys? I mean, like I said, for anyone that does want to get in contact with Anna, actually, let's do it now, Anna. Have you got website address? So just to run through it. Anna is offering a sourcing VA service at the moment for anybody that is interested in hiring a VA for the purposes of sourcing for online arbitrage. Sourcing services with a difference in the sense that geographically they are not recruited from the normal part of the world where standard Amazon VA assistants are recruited from. Essentially, like you said it yourself, we're not trying to, sort of say Anna's is a big churn out kind of service. It's a very personalized service at this stage. So, Anna, as she's already clearly says, is very much about matching personalities, working out who works well, with whoever. And, like I said, I think from anyone who's heard what Anna has said tonight and when she came on a couple of months ago, that it's definitely, and, Paul's fantastic testimonial to say how well his VA has been doing since recruiting through Anna.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing testimonial. So if you do want to get in contact with Anna, like I said, this isn't a webinar. We're not going into the times running out or sign up now and you'll get this, or sign up before midnight tonight, before the cart closes. This is a gentle recommendation for people that we know are looking for these type of services at the moment. Please do get in contact with Anna. Somebody's put it up already, I think. I think it's Tina's put it up. Absolutely. So it's sourcingva.com. They can book a call in with you, can't they, Anna?
Yes. So you can find me on sourcingva.com. Either send me a message on the contact us page, or just book a call at the time and date where it suits you, or just contact me here on Facebook. I'm here. So just say hi, talk to me about either getting VA from us, or talk to me about getting VA altogether. If there's something not clear to you, if you want to do any kind of different kinds of, finding the VA and something is, confusing you about that, I'll help you out. No problem.
Absolutely. And again, Anna's phenomenal, wealth of experience in terms of selling on Amazon as well. And I know that you're happy to help people as well. It's not necessarily about selling a service at the end of the day. So if you do have any questions, because I know this is an area and I know it's nothing to do with financially why some people don't want to use the service, but not everyone is going to want to use the service. People are going to want to go through the experience of recruiting themselves. Anna went into a lot of depth on the previous Never Mind the Buy box on how to recruit yourself, where she was recruiting. I mean, you pretty much told everyone what to do.
Yes. So you can all go there and have a look to find out. You just need to know your expectations and keep it real. So, for instance, ask yourself, why do you need a VA? When do you need a VA? What do you want to delegate? Ask yourself these questions. Where do you want them from? Does location matter or not to you? You can think about how you want to interview them. We gave you some tips today on how to do the interview process. But think about what's important to you during that interview as well. How you're going to pay them, how much you're going to pay them, what to expect from them. Ask yourself what you're going to do if it works out. So you will definitely be scaling up. Ask yourself what happens if it doesn't work out. So you go over there, find your VA, you train them for weeks on end, and then they say, sorry, this is not for me, and they leave. So you wasted your time. So, and ask yourself what next after all of these, experiences.
That's what I wanted to ask you. I'll come back to your question in a moment, Paulina, because I'm sure that's something most people are going to be asking as well. Is one thing we didn't cover last time, and one thing I know that is shock, horror, dread for people is you go through this process either with yourself or directly, and you get someone, and when you know it's not right for whatever reason, because you can't expect perfection. We said this at the start. Even if you're hiring a service, sometimes you're dealing in people. You can't predict people's behavior. You can't second guess what people do. So what happens with let's talk about both scenarios quickly. What if with your service, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, they're not gelling, it's not working or whatever, what happens in that scenario?
Okay, so I was thinking about this long and hard because I didn't want my experience, because I had that experience. I had trained VA, came on board, didn't know the first thing about what VA was trained into, so I had to train them. After about 2 or 3 months, and I knew from the beginning it's not going to work. However, I gave it a chance. So I was giving it a chance for 3 months, and there were no results. And I was really feeling responsible for that person, because I know that VA needs a job. She needs to bring in the income. There's kids to feed. So it was, difficult for me to say, I'm sorry, this is not working out. And then how do I get back to whoever supplied it for me after 3 months? I felt a bit dim, frankly. I'm like, I should have seen this coming. And it's my responsibility that I didn't. So I sat down and thought about how do we circumvent this? Anybody feeling uncomfortable about letting somebody go? And I invented team calls. So we have for the first month weekly team calls. So all 4 of us, me, Tina, and client and the VA that we supply, get together, then review make the plan for the week ahead, review the week that has just passed, comment on this, make a new plan, see what worked, see what didn't work. I talk to the client personally, see, do they gel? So they don't have to feel responsible and feel guilty that if they don't. And if I see anything happen within the first 2 weeks, character-wise, they do not understand each other, client is not impressed, but he doesn't want to or she doesn't want to say anything, I'll say something. I'll say, okay, I don't think this is working out for you. I'll find you somebody else, better. So let's honestly keep it real, act early, and make changes. The only way forward is to make changes. If something doesn't work, don't repeat the same thing over and over. Make a change. If it doesn't work, make a change again. If it doesn't work, what do? Make a change. And then what do you do if it doesn't work? Make another change.
I love that. I love that. And it's so, so true. And so refreshing to hear you say that. And I think it's really, really reassuring, not only about you and your service, but also, and I take it is exactly the same if people go through the process themselves, because I've always said this in the past, same thing with VAs is like the same thing about hairdresser. People hate changing hairdressers. So they put up with bad hair for ages because they don't want to leave a service, even though they know the service is no good for them. That happens with hairdressers all the time. In particular, because it's so much hassle to go and do something else. But I suppose this is going to be the $1 million question, but is there a period of time? Because I know so many people, exactly what you've just said. They've gone on 3 months, 6 months before they've let a VA go, because one, they feel they feel guilty, they feel this, they feel that. But is there a certain period of time that your gut you should follow? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 3 weeks? $1 million question, I know, but
I think character-wise, 2 weeks is enough. If I see that characters are blending and maybe VA is struggling in delivering, I'll be open about that. And I said, I think the communication is good. I think the effort is good. Training is good. This is a situation, what do you want to do? There's performance and character. So we need to work on that. We need to adjust. But I think 2 weeks is enough for the character. For the performance, I think 2 weeks is too short. Maybe longer period of 3 weeks is something that you can already put your finger on and see some kind of results are happening, and maybe adjust, the strategy, or give different kinds of task, sort of expand on something that VA can do or seller can do. New possibilities are always open. So there's a lot of things that can be done there. But, I do have put on the website the sort of gradual, what I think is good, what happens if VA is not suitable or VA leaves. So I do, offer some discounts to introduce a new VA as well. So this is what I think should be done according to some experience that I have. This might change in the future according to some future experiences. So it's out there open that you can see it. You can go on the website and have a look. So there's something up to 2 weeks, up to 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. There's some kind of discount. After 12 weeks, which is 3 months, I expect each person, if you have not acted by then it's your full responsibility as a grown-up business owner to,
You have made a decision.
Exactly. You've made a decision and live with it.
I think that's fair. Let us know in the comments. I think 12 weeks is more than fair to have made the decision in that period of time. So judging what you said, I'm getting the impression, and I think this is an absolute gold nugget. Not always going to be the pay, it's not always going to be the case, but, from what Anna has said, and I agree with this as well. So it'd be interesting to hear people's thoughts, that pretty much your window of time to know if it's working for you, character-wise and performance-wise, anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. Really, you should know within that period of time. It's going to work. And the other thing is as well, never feel guilty about letting someone go from your business that's not working. And the reason being is because you are doing that person that you have hired a disservice as well. If you are telling them that the people that is not doing something well for you, that they are doing great all the time, don't get me wrong, you have to have positive reinforcement for growth as well. But what I mean is, if you are telling someone they're fantastic at their job and you are keeping them for long periods of time, then eventually something's going to give, you are going to get rid of them, and it's going to come to a shock to them. And they were going to think that they were performing brilliantly this whole time, and they wasn't. And it was something that it's going to be more of a shock. Whereas you are better off telling them, feeding back. If there is anyone that you do let go for whatever reason, do you do an exit with them? Do you give them feedback about how they can change for the future or anything like that?
Well, I had loads of years over my, years of being in business, not just Amazon, but the previous businesses. And when I was happy with them, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The only problem I had is to know what to do next, because business was expanding, and you have to know that, otherwise, But when I had to let somebody go, I did feel guilty, and there were sleepless nights and all of that, what comes with it, because I feel responsible for that person. I know their circumstances. I like to get to know person, therefore I feel extra responsible. But I say to them, okay, this is not working out. You can continue working for me if you like, for maybe next couple of weeks. But once I speak to somebody and tell them I cannot have them in the business anymore, I don't like to let them into the business for some reason. I find that chapter over somehow. Yeah. Yes, but I do take care of them, financially.
Yeah. I agree. We've done through the same process. I think we give 2 weeks gardening leave. So we will say, we'll pay you for the next 2 weeks. But, don't work for us.
Yes. And I also tell them, this is your strength here.
Yeah.
you can find somebody easier over there in this platform for that. And this is not your strength, as far as I can see, according to my experience. And don't offer that in the future. You waste people's time and yours.
Absolutely. And this is what people fail to forget. And you say it so much more eloquently than me, Anna, is, you know, if you are keeping someone on longer than you should do, you're not only wasting your time, you're wasting theirs as well. And they could be feeling like they're in a secure position, and in your mind, you're going to get rid of them all along. It's like almost Thanksgiving turkey, isn't it? It's inevitable that turkey's going to get eaten. But it's, you know, it's just when it's going to happen, essentially. So never feel guilty about that, guys. I mean, I know we're all human, so it's easy for me to say this. I worked in recruitment for 5 years. I've owned business. I've been in my business for, you know, a combination of being full-time and part-time for, you know, nearly 20 years, essentially.
Wow.
I have hired and fired hundreds of people. There is no excuse. There is no exaggeration to that. You know, working in recruitment for 5 years.
I'm impressed.
I've hired and fired hundreds of people. Matt and I have run businesses. You know, Matt's probably hired and had to fire people over. You know, Matt's probably, you know, 100 people and, you know, had to fire. What I will say is it never gets easier. Anybody that says that they can fire people, you know, the more that they do it, that it gets easier. It doesn't.
No.
Absolutely doesn't. Unfortunately, when our distribution business, you know, came to an end, we had to let go of some staff. And these were people that we knew personally. They worked in our warehouse. They worked in everything like that. Matt and I, for the week before, we knew it was going to happen for a week before. And we did not sleep. I'm not ashamed to admit it. There was some tears shed over it. You know, it's not nice. It's not nice. And I don't know if it's any easier getting rid of someone, whether or not they physically work for you or not, because there is a level of responsibility that does grow. So what I would encourage anybody to do is, if you are thinking about going ahead and, you know, wanting to go down this route, book a call with Anna and talk about these things, because I know that you will talk about the responsibilities of it's like, you know, the responsibilities of having a VA, and you will talk openly about, you know, what expectations are and things like that. It's not just a case of sign up to the service here. You want to talk to people about it beforehand, don't you?
Yes. I want to talk to everyone, you know, show them what I've learned so they can understand what does entail. If you never had the VA before, it's going to be valuable to know what to expect out of the situation. And if you had the VA before and you had great experience or bad experience, you will, you know, hear my experience and perhaps my advice, and we can teach each other. Who knows?
Absolutely.
You know, I'm open to the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Our collaborative working is the best as far as I'm concerned. Nobody knows everything. It's important not to learn from just one person at the end of the day. People do different things in different way. I'm a big believer of that, 100%. And you know what? I'm going to be booking a strategy call with Anna next week, or the week after probably, because it's made me realize, you know, talking to Anna and the way that she runs her business, that I do need to outsource certain tasks within mine and Matt's businesses and the things that we're doing as well. That's my Matt, by the way, not Matt Webber. So I'm definitely going to be speaking, you know, absolutely.
Excellent.
Paulina has asked, you source admin VAs?
I did train about a dozen of admin VAs when, you know, I was considering going that way as well. So I do have few, but at the moment I am focusing on sourcing VAs. I have everything ready to train that admin VAs too as well. If somebody is desperate for that, I could, you know, reach out to some of the people that I trained in the past. But I do focus on sourcing VAs at the present.
Okay. I'd probably suggest, Paulina, book a call with Anna. Talk it through.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, because it may well be that you might be looking for someone on the sourcing side who can do a bit of admin as well, or something like that. So yours isn't really a tick box service, essentially, is it? It's more customized, I suppose.
It's, yes, if somebody needs something else, I will see what I can do.
Yeah.
I like to, sort of, let's, slow down approach, see what everybody needs, understand what's out there for them, and see what we can offer. Yeah, there's no rush, quality is very important.
Absolutely, for sure. Paul says it's more tough when you know their personal circumstances and they are the main earner supporting not just their parents but grandparents, like the culture in the Philippines. Absolutely. And
Yes.
From what Anna has said, going through and understanding and establishing what their circumstances are is a big part of how you recruit the people that are going to be working for you. So we really appreciate that for sure. So one last shout out, it's www.sourcingva.com. I know Tina's put up the link there, but shout out on Facebook, get in contact with Anna. I tagged her in the post today, so hopefully you guys know who Anna is by now. Find her on Facebook, say hello, introduce yourself, and just have a chat, because I know for a fact that if you are someone that is sat on the fence, Anna is going to be someone that she's not going to talk you into doing something that's not right for you and your business. And full well that by having a chat with someone, it's something, again, I do it with people with ESA and things like that. It's not right for everyone. And you have to be at a certain point within your business, for certain things to work for you. But if you're in a position where it's not going to be potentially, or Anna doesn't think potentially it's the right thing for you, I'm sure Anna will tell you.
That's true.
But do you know what I'm also sure of is not only Anna will tell you, but she'll probably give you a plan of what to do to get to that point.
Definitely.
I know that for sure.
Definitely.
So any other questions for Anna, let me know. But again, time's gone so quickly tonight. We're already at 8:15. I think I was so kind of distracted by your sustainable Christmas tree at the start. I was dying to know more about it. It's making me think I want a sustainable Christmas tree.
Yeah, you do?
I do. Yeah. It looks cool. Like I said, it's that Scandi kind of feel to it.
It's
for
beautiful.
Sure.
Yeah. It's sort of, has two sort of main beams and then slotted things in between. And it has a space for the prezzies underneath. I don't know if I can, show it, but it always hidden. I'll show it, at some point. There you go. There's a space there. I don't know where the cover goes. So the whole space, there's cards at the back as well, and place for the car, sort of for the star at the top. So you slot the star on, and it turns into a Christmas tree. Now it's the light that looks like a Christmas tree.
Your husband, if anybody out there runs a prep center and they don't have that type of Christmas tree in the prep center, you guys are missing a trick there. You need to hit up Anna's husband to make you a pallet sustainable Christmas tree for your staff at your prep center. So I know we've got a few people watching that do own prep centers, so there could be a whole business in itself for that. Definitely,
you never know. And we're going to reuse something that nobody knows what to do with.
That's an Etsy product if ever I saw one.
There you go.
Definitely need to look at that. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, well, we're going to call it a night tonight. I'm going to be back Tuesday next week, and I'm not sure who's on with me next week as yet, but as ever, we're always going to be talking about everything Amazon related. And do you know what? Next week, I think we're definitely going to be heading more into Q4. I know it's been a little bit of a slow start for a lot of people for Q4, but things really should start, sort of hotting up as we head into November. Any questions? Let us know in the group. Always happy to answer any questions about, what's going on with you and your Amazon business. Please let us know. A couple of people saying they're great. It was a great live, so we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Get in contact with Anna, www.sourcingva.com to book a call if you are interested in potentially taking your business to the next step or the next level and outsourcing a VA, bringing them into the business, have a chat with Anna and see if it's going to be right for you. Anna, as ever, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And I know we'll have you back again in the future to talk about more things, not just Christmas trees, trees and VAs, because I know you're worth of experience when it comes to Amazon as well. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Natalie. It was so much fun. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So much pleasure.
Have fun.
And
we do have fun.
Yeah, we do. And thank you, everybody, for your questions and feedback. It's really appreciated.
Absolutely. Get in contact with Anna, guys. She's a wonderful person, and I know you won't regret it if you do. So see you all next week. Have a great week, everyone. And yeah, any questions, let us know. Take care. Bye.
Bye.